supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space.
What does it take to convince you that the dead do not always rest in peace?
Has been brought to you by Brat's Beard Care, premium beard oil made right here in Central Florida by Kelly Brat himself. All natural beard oil blends, beard soap, beard balm, expertly blended and handcrafted by Kelly. Go to bratsbeardcare.com, use promo code 3beards with capital B, and you're going to save 20% off, including free shipping on that. And at this time, I would love to welcome the two guests for the evening. This is a different kind of episode for us because usually we're talking about some weird conspiracy, cryptid, book authors, but we decided to go coming into the new year. Everybody, always has, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I got to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to stop eating this. In one of those things. It's when you do something out of your ordinary, you just do something random. It's just that you last for just a little while and then you go right back to, why did I just eat 4 McRibs from McDonald's? I said I was going to eat better, but I just got done eating a large fry, 4 McRibs, but I had a Diet Coke.
We have an excuse now, though. Yeah. So
what we did is, so what we decided to do is we decided to bring in two people that have a pretty good idea of, the way to not only change the mind, change the body, to change just like the ways, Stephanie Leyba, she's here, yoga. She's a friend of Austin's from,
I'm sorry,
old school buddies, art canvas buddy, from school. Yep, right there. See, there's a picture. Yes, and Victoria, Acevedo. I think, did I get it right? Acevedo, yes. She has a Facebook page, Natural Rejuvenation. Let me bring that up there so people could see that. You go there and check that out. And basically, so welcome both of you to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so really, like I said, kind of the way I posed that to is just kind of for both of you, coming into the new year, most people, they're looking for, especially right now, we're highly non-political on our show. We try to stay away from that thing. But this last year, between COVID, between the election, everybody is looking for, they're looking for something, they may not admit it to themselves, but everybody, if you actually sit down and think about it, something needs to change. Something needs to change in not only up here, but, don't mind me with all this talk as I'm drinking a hard cider,
It's a hard cider.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm not without hypocrisy here, folks. A little side note, if you want to see something funny, it should have been, I pulled muscle in my leg. So my wife was helping me with some yoga poses. Have you ever seen that fat cat video where they throw the baguette bread on top of it and it's just laying there and it just starts trying to attack this thing? That's what I look like trying to do yoga poses. It was embarrassing.
But did you feel better afterwards?
I did.
Exactly.
That was kind of the thing. It's whether or not I want to admit it. I absolutely cannot stand kale. I think it tastes nasty. It tastes like bug spray, but it's one of those things. As you eat some of these things better, it's like you do feel better. But I'm telling you, that Shamrock Shake from McDonald's still sounds Everybody tells you. Everybody tells you when you eat healthier, you are gonna carrots are gonna taste like candy bars. They're full of shit. Those don't taste good. No, I'm like, I want a Snickers bar. And so that's why we brought you in. It's like, how do you help a fat kid like me break myself of this habit. So I'll let either one of you, it doesn't matter who takes this. Like, how do you help the fat kid in me, disappear?
Well, first of all, I think it's a mental thing first. If you don't change that, then anything else is going to be hard to stick to. You need 21 days to start a new habit, and you need 3 months to start a new lifestyle. So you just have to be consistent at it and make yourself a priority. If you start thinking that self-care is your health care and it's a form of self-respect, then you'll start choosing better. You have to make yourself a priority, because when you make yourself a priority, you're an example to everybody that's watching you, which most of the time is your spouse and your kids. So you can't tell your kids don't smoke if you're lighting up in front of them.
Yeah. What are you doing?
That's the start, is just mentally getting it there. And whether you're writing it with a dry erase marker on your bathroom mirror, or it's, you've got 15 reminders going off on your iPhone or your watch or on the calendar, you find a way to make yourself accountable. And that's just the beginning.
Yeah. And then Stephanie, how about for you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Mentality and your mindset is a huge thing, because your mind will rule everything that you do, whether you are aware of it or not. So your thoughts and everything play a big deal. So being conscious of the things that we do, the things that we want to do, and so I find that once you start on the right track of eating healthy and exercising and maintaining that, then it's kind of like a chain reaction, and it just makes it easier to stay in that routine, because it makes you feel good about yourself. And when you feel good, you want to do more of that.
Yeah. And then when you stop, you feel like crap, or you actually crave a good thing. Like I used to go to the gym, like minimum 5 days a week. I've kind of slacked off during COVID, but 5 days a week. And when I didn't go, I felt like I was being a bum. Like I really missed it, so it's really creating that habit, and the endorphins and everything that chemically changes in your body. You now have a new, what do I want to call it? Like a new high or a new thing that you're addicted to versus being addicted to the sugar or the Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Truth be told, I haven't had one of those for a long time, but I just threw that out. But I won't lie, I've had a few cookies in my recent past.
And another thing is, if you're going to feel guilty about the stuff that you do let go, then you're doing more harm. So you really have to create a balance, because I believe that every word and every action has a frequency, has a vibration, and so we create our life. So if you're going to not ever eat anything, what you consider to be sweet today, and then you're going to be miserable or feel guilty when you eat that one, the vibration and the guilt is going to be worse for you than the one cookie.
That makes sense. I mean, I can see that, because I don't know, where I teased it, at the beginning, where I just felt this, I know everybody, in different things, everybody's felt something's off.
Yeah.
Something's coming, something's different, something, and we all have that different thing. Like, it's just, the turnover, through politics, and, we have all those things. But what is, for me, really, it's just, I've really gotten into, the guys will tell you, I've really started to get into more of a spiritualism thing. I've somewhere in the last few months, I've really taken a thing for karma, where I've really started paying attention to this, because I felt, even, like I said, without, I'm trying to be so gentle, not touching the subject to get everybody think, but just like what happened with the election, the people saying stuff to the other side, it's like, you do realize it's like you're interjecting yourself into something that, for me, and that's where I wanted to bring, especially like yoga and the natural healing, I wanted to bring in these things, like to how you guys could tell people, like, kind of a starting point. Because for me, I found that the more I realize that if I don't interject myself into, if I focus the whole, like saying, stay in your lane, if I do that, I feel so much better. I'm looking at people on Facebook and looking at stuff, and they're all stressed out. They're all, angry, and it's not affecting me, because what I've decided is and it has really worked. As I'm doing this, I feel this calm. Well, everybody else is in panic. Even like right now with COVID, I'm calm because I'm one of those things. I can only affect myself. I can only handle my family. I can only handle me. I can make all these comments I want about, Chris, Austin, what do you, oh my God, I can't believe she's eating kale again. That's gross. But what does it do? The only thing it does is it puts negativity on me.
Yes.
Because I'm jumping in there. And that's kind of where, wanted to get with you both is how do you get the person that's this ball of stress, this ball, this angst over over COVID, how do you get them to start to decompress? I mean, that I know it's hard. I mean, because everybody's a different situation, but it's one of those things like the exit ramp. Where do we get these people? What exit ramp do we start them at? Do this first.
I think that 2020 has really been a year for like perfect vision, and anything that has come up for people this year is really whatever lessons or things that they have to face in their life. I feel like when you notice these things, those are the lessons that you're actually learning. Like you said, you noticed how people were angry and how you could only reflect that. So that was a lesson for you because maybe last year you were one of those people. So now you can recognize it, I think that the best that we can do for other people, like I said before, is to be that example. I'm not going to panic. I mean, I don't want to specifically talk about COVID because I'm really passionate about that subject. Not just the conspiracy theory part, but the health part. I believe in, not to be religious. I believe if a higher power created me and my immune system, then how does some guy get to say that 98% of my DNA is junk and that I really need a mask to survive? So
yes, exactly.
I think that if if you're working on yourself, if you're working on your emotions, your diet, that the nutrition and all your personal traumas, that's enough on your plate than to worry about all this extra stuff. And if you have all that in balance, then none of that outside stuff is going to be able to affect you. But it's kind of like when we have a hurricane. If you spend 3 days, like 20 hours a day, looking at that hurricane coming, is getting bigger and bigger, your anxiety builds up. That's all you can think about. You're just creating more negativity. I do like you. I choose not to focus on it anymore unless I see a really funny meme and I can't help but to post it.
Oh, well, it's like, when did the conspiracy theorists become the ones that believed in fresh air and the immune system? That's what I was like, man, this 2020 is upside down. This is bizarro world. You're a conspiracy theorist if you believe in the immune system. Before that, we used to be like, oh, dude, that's that weird hippie. Now everybody.
Take vitamin C, elderberry, and some zinc, and boost your immune system for the fall. For the kids in these times, because I didn't want to put the CV word in there, so my post wouldn't get tagged. I still got in trouble from Facebook like 3 different times from basically the same thing. The third time they said that it was false information because you cannot boost the immune system. That I was a public health and safety risk for people, telling people to take vitamin C and zinc.
Wow.
Yeah. So my original page where I originally met you guys, that's been deleted.
Oh my God. So they say you can't boost the immune system, but what happened during flu season when you drink a lot of orange juice, or you get sick and you drink orange juice? And like me personally, I hate meds, so I'll just drink teas, orange juice, and try to heal myself herbally when I get sick. But you can't boost the immune system. That is crazy, but okay.
Apparently you're living a lie, because that's not true. So but yet the vaccine will boost our immune system against whatever they're giving us a vaccine for.
It's gonna boost it.
Yeah.
Now, Stephanie, like, so what, is there, you do yoga, so is there a certain, routine that's a really great for beginners? Basically, I'd say, just like even for myself, like, starting out, like I said, I already described myself as the fat cat trying to, that can't even touch his toes. One where for centering your mind, for clear, almost like the meditation style where you want to do wipe the slate, start from there. I mean, where's a good starting point?
Tell them to roll around on the floor like a dead dog.
So if you're looking for like postures or like a kind of a little routine of like physical practice that you could do, I would say sun salutations are your best thing to do. It's a sequence, and you can look up videos on YouTube, or I can get with you after this and I can run.
Oh, they got her.
Oh, see what happens? And Mark Zuckerberg was just like, there is false information coming out. You cannot do stuff with your mind. You cannot do stuff with your body.
That's what
Get her out of here.
Next to me, you end up being deleted.
So she was describing a nice routine. So we're gonna try to get her back on and figure out what's going on. What's
well, in her defense, I mean, yoga really does reduce like your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone. So if you think a little bit about yoga and think about acupuncture, what that does is it helps. Think of your body full of like highways, your veins, your arteries, all that energy, all that electricity. So if I-4 had a traffic jam, you need to find a way to stretch out that highway and let the traffic flow through. So your yoga, your acupuncture, your acupressure, those things are going to help let that energy flow through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see
blockage. Because when you have a blockage, that's where you start creating a dis-ease in the body.
I don't see how that could help. I mean, I'm gonna have to be drunk if I ever do acupuncture. That just don't even look fun. You poke me with a million needles. Nah, I'm good. I'll pass.
But the needles are so tiny. A lot of times you don't feel them, and when you do feel them, it's because that's the spot you need it.
Really?
Yeah, I'd
be afraid.
So I did my whole body. I had like, I don't know, maybe 80 needles one time. And
wow.
Do you do acupuncture? Do you do it?
No, actually my best friend does, and she comes to my house to do it.
Nice. Mobile acupuncture.
Wow. What is like a beginner session cost? Something in the ballpark.
I'm sure, well, she has to do a full session on you to get you like history and stuff, but sessions can be like $100, but I can hook you up.
Oh, that's not bad. I would love to try it. We'll get Craig shoot you an email and get your contact information. I'll reach out to you. I would love to try it.
Yeah. I mean, anything that's about energy that's going to help that flow, whether it's the acupuncture, like I said, yoga, or even music. I have the Universal C, the music bowl. Like you use
I was just going to ask if you had a singing bowl. Yeah.
So I use the singing bowl, and after a while, you really get into it. And my kids used to be like super hyper. I mean, diagnosed ADD, ADHD, and autism. But I would use that bowl on them, and they would just be the calmest, most sweetest kids ever. I'd be like, "Don't move until I stop the bowl," and at the end, they'd be like, "Oh, that was so nice, Mommy." And I'm like, yes,
Nice.
So what exactly is that? I'm confused. You said a bowl. What exactly is that?
It's a singing bowl. It's a glass bowl. Sometimes they're brass. Mine is glass though. And you can buy each individual one for the note that corresponds to each chakra. But I didn't want to buy all these bowls and have to store them. So I just bought one big Universal C note that would help with all of them. It's kind of like lavender helps with everything and frankincense helps with everything versus trying to get a very specific one. So I just got the one bowl, and I do that with meditation. I may do that if I'm doing a chakra balancing with a client. I can do that when I'm doing an energetic cleaning of my house. I mean, there's just numerous ways where you can use it. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yep. So
go back to what Craig was saying too. Us three guys, I mean, I'm not going to say we exclude her, but we played football and sports. That's why we stretch before practice. One, it just feels good. Because once you're done stretching, you feel great. You feel loose. You're ready to go. Even just, if you don't know how to do yoga, just stretch. Sit on the ground, stretch your back, stretch your arms. You feel different. Just by doing those minor things. It feels great.
I mean, I'm not a yoga expert, so I hope Stephanie can come back. But I do know that I read a study, I don't remember where, I'm sorry, that said that after 10 weeks, they had a group of PTSD-like guys in there. And after 10 weeks, 52% of them no longer qualified under the criteria of PTSD. Because it reduced like their anxiety, it reduced inflammation. In another study, there was like a study with 218 people who practice it every day. And by the end, they had lowered their blood pressure and their inflammatory markers or something like that.
I'm never going to downplay anybody for taking medicine because it does help. Everybody's different. But like you said with your kids, the ADHD, I was bad. ADHD kid growing up, my parents didn't know what to do, and they stuck me in sports. That just killed it. Like it was great. I got after school, go to sports, get home, homework. That's it. No energy.
Yeah.
I never took Adderall. I think it was whatever. I never took those pills. I don't even like antidepressants. My dad passed away. I was young and a teenager. Even today, I don't want to take antidepressants. I don't want to rely on a pill. But I'm never going to shame somebody for needing for that because sometimes you need that.
Yeah,
I
think men they definitely have their place. It's like a crutch. If you twist your ankle or break a leg, you're going to need to use the crutch, right?
Yeah. You need something.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to use that crutch for the rest of your life. You have to find ways to heal, and you have to find ways to strengthen those, leg muscles. So I feel that medicine's the same. There's nothing wrong with taking medicine. We just hope that they're not on the same pill for 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried. I actually gave in after many years. My son was like 5 or 6 years old, sick, and I put him on meds because he was diagnosed with all those things. And I thought, well, he's in school, and unfortunately in this society, I need him to succeed in school, thinking that's how he'll succeed in life. But he would end up sleeping like the last hour and a half or 2 hours of the day and bring all that schoolwork home. Then he wakes up, it's time to get on the bus, and he's hyper as heck. And he gets in trouble on the bus, and he gets written up on the bus. So then I'm staying up till like 11 o'clock, getting the classwork done. And then he's got to get on the school bus at 6 a.m. and he's just this little guy. So that's why we removed them from regular school and I homeschool now.
Yeah.
Because that's what worked for us. I'm not saying that, maybe meds work for somebody else, but he would say things like, Mommy, I'm sad and I want to cry and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I put him through that. So I had to, I felt at the time that I was sacrificing some of my freedom, and you do a little bit, but it was the best decision that I could have made.
Well, that's the thing is you have to make that one. I mean, everybody wants to prescribe this, overarching. I mean, like I said, I feel bad. I kind of put you guys on the spot, and tell me that one thing that's, because it's always different for other people. Everybody has that different thing that works for them, and everybody wants you to, this is what you have to do this, and it doesn't work for every kid. I mean, how many times we have to show that a uniform test doesn't work? All kids learn differently, but yet we keep giving them the same standard, and we expect your son who is struggling, my son who is struggling in some classes, to be the same as the A+ student that can just walk in the class and get an A.
Yeah, and then even homeschooling, he'll be like 11th grade level for reading, but like 4th grade level for something else, and 8th grade level for something else, and that's okay. Everything's going to eventually work out in the end. I don't want to hold him to a standard that was made 100 years ago for a classroom.
Yeah,
exactly.
My sons are this. Well, my kids are the same way. My oldest one's kind of more laid back, and my middle child, he's like the engineer. He's always doing something, figuring out different ways of doing stuff. My daughter's too young to figure out right now. She just follows along. But you can tell we raise them the same. They're about 1.5 years apart, but they do things completely different. That's a sign right there, And
you could try, I'm huge on essential oils. I would put essential oils on the bottom of their feet before they go to bed. Yeah. Because if you think about reflexology and massage, those oils are getting. I have a picture somewhere.
Which ones would you recommend using? Is it calming, whatever? I mean,
definitely. Lavender is calming. I mean, we can get into like the details of the different ones, but what I was going to say before I forget, because I haven't had any oil for memory today, but like the bottom of your feet and your hands are actual connections to your organs, just like acupuncture. Huh. So when you put the oils on the bottom of their feet before they go to bed, put socks on in case they get up and slip, but it's going to go directly to all those different systems in the body.
Huh. Okay.
So it's very relaxing for them, but it's also very healing. They say that some people, if you put even peppermint on their feet, that eventually they end up tasting it in their mouth because it does go right into the bloodstream. Because your skin is the largest organ.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
If you really think about your skin being an extension of your mouth, if you're not willing to drink it, then don't put it on your skin.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I showed you that, a few months ago with, I was talking about the beard oil, and you're like, what are the ingredients? you know, because most people, when they say all natural, you're like, okay, here it comes, you know, here's going to be a weird thing. And then when you saw the ingredients, you're like, oh, wow, that is essential oils. And I'm like, yeah, he uses essential oils, and there's nothing, there's no pharmaceutical, you know, chemical compound, you know, it just everything that's in here. I mean, like when we talk about it, it's just, you go down there and it's avocado oil. It's just, you go through all these different things that he uses in his, all, you know, and everything is an essential oil. And that's why we tout it, especially for anybody that's really into all natural stuff. You know, we're not putting chemicals on your skin with this. I mean, it's a blend of essential oils.
I see a future of that line, adding some men's skincare.
Yeah, and that definitely could be, and that's one of the things why we, you know, not only is it a local craftsman, it's you know, and we partnered up with him, but it's just, you know, we believe in his product, and you know, it works. It's not just us being mouthpieces, you know, trying to get, you know, stuff, and that's because I've definitely, you know, all of us have noticed a difference.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
But you know, when you were talking like frequent,
essential oils are awesome because they fight against like unfriendly microbes that you might have in your body. They help you balance your body functions. They raise the frequency of the body. They will act as antioxidants. They clear up negative emotional baggage. They can uplift your spiritual awareness. So if you think about, this is how I explain stuff to my husband, because he's all about money or cars. So it has to be something about money or cars for him to really get it. So let me back a second to chakras. If you think about, you know how in the garage you have the circuit breakers for the house? So if the circuit breaker goes out where it says kitchen, so I have no electricity now in my kitchen. So everything in the kitchen goes bad. But that doesn't mean that the refrigerator is broken or that the food is bad for me or the stove isn't working. It's just that I have no electricity there. And that's the same way with, say, the heart chakra. Let's say you have a heartbreak, or the energy is off, whether it's the solar chakra, pick a chakra, doesn't matter. You're going to slowly start to feel physical symptoms, and the doctor's going to only be able to treat that physical symptom because he won't be able to go back to find out what was the emotion or the thought or whatever that went into that before you felt that physical symptom. I lost you guys.
No, that makes sense. You know, no, because that's completely, because you can see that. It's just when something happens. I mean, who hasn't, like you said, you have a breakup, you know, you go into thing, you know, you notice that your world just like crumbles.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, you know, okay, deal with it. No, it's like you literally, it's like a shutdown. You know, people start, you know,
and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to go through the emotions in order to get to the other side, because we're human. We don't want to take a pill and not feel it. If you need help through it, that's fine as well. But everything has a frequency, a number. So if you stay stuck in that sadness or that rejection or whatever those negative feelings are, then you start to lower your body's vibration. So now think of a bank account. If your bank account is supposed to be at a certain balance and you keep withdrawing and withdrawing, then you're going to be in this negative status. For example, fresh herbs, they're about 20 to 27 megahertz. A dry herb is only going to be 12 to 22. So it's already less. Fresh fruit is going to be 5 to 10 megahertz. But if you get a canned fruit, it's 0. It has no life force. It might have a chemical nutrition that you might temporarily get, but it's going to have a 0. So if you think of your body as a bank account, adding essential oil rose is going to add $320 if you want to think megahertz as dollars versus anger that's going to, withdraw that much. A healthy person ranges 62 to 68. A cold starts right around 58. The flu starts at 57. Candida starts around 55. Epstein-Barr is 52. Cancer starts at 42. Death starts around 25. So even at so-called dying at 25, if cancer is 42, then clearly you're not dying when you have cancer. You still have that chance if you want. It's really complicated. I don't want to simplify that. My mom passed away from cancer, but it doesn't mean
condolences. It
doesn't mean it's a death sentence.
So basically, is there a list that you have of how different oils help the body? Because the
Yeah.
main ones I use is like tea tree and peppermint, but I don't know. I know tea tree fights off fungals,
Yeah.
and I don't know what peppermint.
Yes.
I mean, so
Tea
what is?
tree is like anti-parasitic. So like if your kid gets ringworm or you got like fungus on your, like athlete's foot or something like that, if you just want to put some in your shoes just to get rid of the smell from the gym or for whatever, you can add it to lemon oil and use it for anti-mold properties, clean the house. It's antibacterial. You can use it for your face, like if you have pimples, things like that. Lemon is good for the immune system. It's good for getting rid of mucus in the body. So think of it as a cleaner. It cleans the house. It cleans the body. It's like a
So,
preserver almost.
so you can actually drink tea tree oil?
Yeah, you could put like a drop in some water. Like you could have like a glass of water and add it. You
Okay.
could buy those vegetable capsules and you can make your own little blend and take it that way as well.
Definitely.
It depends on the flavor. Like oil of oregano is really good to get rid of parasites. So when I have a client,
I've heard about that. Yeah.
I can't take the oil. I have a friend who can just put it right under her tongue, but it grosses me out. I want to throw up. So I rather put it in a capsule or I just buy the pills from Chamberlain's because I just can't handle it. I'm kind of when it comes to that.
So do you have a shop? Because I mean, I would love to catch up with you and maybe get some chakra cleansing. Because I had a chakra necklace. It was a selenite crystal with 7 chakras on it, and it actually really helped balance me. But I think it broke, and it broke half in two, and I don't know why, but I just know it broke.
You know why?
I know. I know why. I know why. I know why it broke. My turmeric, my selenite. But I would really love to have a session. So I mean, maybe one day.
Absolutely. Peppermint you mentioned, it's really good for like digestive stuff. So I'm going to give you a story. Again, back to my son. One day he wasn't feeling well because he ate too much or he ate something that didn't sit well. And I thought, I'll give him 1 drop of peppermint oil under his tongue. I was just in a rush. I didn't want to dilute it in a spoon with coconut oil, which is what I normally would have did because of his age. So I just, turned the bottle and put a drip in his mouth. He was like, oh, that kind of tastes like candy, but it kind of burns. And I would say within not even 2 minutes, no lie, he ran to the bathroom and he threw up.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, oh, great. He's never going to want to take an oil again. He came out of the bathroom and he said, oh, I feel so much better. Thank you, Mommy. And he just ran off and started to play.
Huh.
So it really does help with anybody that has like IBS symptoms.
So the peppermint oil, huh?
Peppermint
oil is awesome for that. I know that there was a study, but you could look on PubMed because that's like a government website where there's some studies. There's some other websites that you can do too. I know a lot of people will think that there's no validity in essential oils because they can't get it from their doctor. But if we make doctors approve and write on the bottle from the FDA what it can do, then that means you'll only be able to get it from a doctor. And then it won't be readily available to us anymore. So we kind of don't really want that. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go to Timberlands or order off a Young Living or doTERRA and get my oil. I don't want them having control over that as well. Another good oil is lavender. You can use that for your skin. If you have burns, cuts, rashes, a bee sting, it's also good for anxiety. It's good for calming you down. You can put it on your pillow to help you sleep. They say that you can also use it to help you remember dreams, but that might be a whole nother show.
Now, what's a good alternative for that? Like for lavender? Because I know, somebody that, has anxiety, but it's allergic to lavender.
Nice. Peppermint. I would say that they should probably check to see the quality of the lavender that they're using, because it's really hard when somebody has an allergy. It's usually because there's a reaction to like some proteins or something in it, but you don't have that in oil. So it's kind of impossible to be allergic to a real essential oil. So maybe
because even like the flower, it's like allergies.
Okay.
Instant, and that's why I said like lavender candles, anything like that. It's instant, just like Just the scent.
Okay.
That's why I was wondering if there's something that's an alternative.
There's other like flower type ones that you can use, and then frankincense is really good as well. Lavender is just my kind of go-to. But chamomile is really good. You can use it in a tea. You can use the oil. You can use, it in a base oil, and maybe rub it behind the ears or the wrist and the feet before bed. But I tell people that essential oils are just like any kind of supplement or reactor, or even exercise. They're all really tools that you have to use to work together. Because if you're only doing one and not the other, it's going to either take you longer for your result, or you're really not going to make much change in life. It's like if my husband gives up drinking all alcohol, but he doesn't change and he eats McDonald's every day. Well, there's no point in giving up the alcohol because you're still eating like
crap.
Yeah. Still eating the McRibs. I know.
Yeah. So there has to be a balance. You really need a balance. So, when you hear the stories about, well, this guy was a triathlete and he was super healthy and he had a brain aneurysm and didn't wake up and he was only 35. So what's the point of me eating healthy? I'm going to die anyway. I think that's a bad attitude, because you have to ask yourself, what quality of life do you want to have while you are alive? Number one. And number two, maybe that person that was doing all the physical stuff for being healthy wasn't doing anything for the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual.
Makes sense. You never think about stuff like that.
Sure.
Because you're living in a 3D world, but you're really a multi-dimensional spirit that happens to be in that meat bag, Yeah. You're not what you see in the mirror. You're way more than that.
I want to attribute it to the right guy. It was I want to say it was a Japanese doctor that said that his theory is that the heart only has just so many beats, that there's actual like a finite amount of heartbeats. And so like his thing is just, so like these ultra marathon runners, these ones that are dying of heart attacks in their 30s and 40s, that they're actually have used up, they've basically have worn out the heart by that point, that there's a lot of that too, because I was like you said, everything in moderation. Exercise is great for you. You should exercise, because if you don't, you're going to end up, once again, the fat cat laying there on the floor that can't touch anything. You're just like,
I know a lot of people are going to be happy to hear this, but too much exercise can actually be bad for you, because you're creating more garbage, and then the body has to clear out all those, you need more antioxidants to clear all that up. And so
moderation.
That's not good. So moderation again. Yeah. And speaking about people that, work out a lot, peppermint, like we said before, is really good for muscle pain, but ginger is a great anti-inflammatory, and it helps relieve pain, tension. So it's good for like headaches. The menthol that you have in peppermint is a menthol that they end up putting in prescription drugs for like muscle rubs and stuff. So when they're making a pharmaceutical part of it, they're taking one tiny piece or one compound from the plant of peppermint, which has thousands or hundreds, and they're only giving you that one piece. So that's not a balance. So that's why when you have the pharmaceutical, you're not getting the best full effect as if you would have been using the peppermint plant. So, take peppermint, drink it as a tea, find it as an oil, absorb it any way you can. When you smell peppermint oil, it makes you more alert too.
It's like, the ginger and the menthol by themselves is great. A ginger smoking a menthol, that's bad.
What about Epsom salt?
And you're referring to me, Craig. Thank you.
What about Epsom salt? Because not the whole point of the show, but before we thought about bringing you and Stephanie on, my sister were supposed to do this past Sunday a natural float called Indigo Float. I don't know if you heard of them or not. And it was just an hour of floating in hot water with Epsom salt. You just float and meditate for an hour. Couldn't do it, unfortunately. But what does Epsom salt have to do with that? It's just really salt, nothing special about it.
It's actually going to help with inflammatory issues, and it is one main ingredient when you do a detox bath. So detox baths are usually baking soda, Epsom salt. There's one more thing I can't think. There's 3 of them. Darn. Baking soda, Epsom salt, there's something else. And usually I put like lavender or something in there. And that's literally to detoxify you. So if I had to go to the dentist and I had no choice but to do the x-rays because it had been too long, then I'd come home and I'd soak and I'd do a detox bath for minimum 20 minutes. And then when I get out, then I go straight into the shower. I'm not going to bathe in that same water.
Yeah.
I know they say it's because, they get exposed to it all the time, but does anybody else feel a little inconsiderate when they throw the big heavy lead thing
they
on
run.
you? And then they all book out of the thing, and then all of a sudden you just hear the and then it's like they all come in. It's like, is it clear? Okay, hey, how are you doing?
Are you okay?
I think I'm okay. I'm not really sure now.
Yeah, that's a concern, because if you're doing it a couple times a year for your teeth, and then you're doing it at the airport, or you're doing it for your job, or God forbid a school, it's way too much exposure. But that itself can be a whole show with Wi-Fi and all that stuff.
Oh no. So
speaking of Wi-Fi, the Matrix got her, and so we're gonna have to reschedule and try to get Stephanie in later. So that was part of the thing that was information that was not supposed to get out, and so she was zapped.
Yeah.
So her Wi-Fi is not working right now. So
Wow.
So like I said,
But
yeah, so that's the answer to that mystery.
You've heard about like twin telepathy. Do you feel like if you have a close relationship with somebody else, that you can feel their same problem? Because one day my sister was messaging me out of the blue. She's like, "Hey, you okay?" I said, "No, I'm not. I'm not okay." I said, "It's not corona sick. I just feel mentally weird. Like I feel like I'm waiting for a phone call. Someone died." She goes, "I feel the same way." And we were just going back and forth. She's like, "It may just feel like," and she was messing around because she doesn't know. She's like, "It's probably the moon's out of retrograde or something." I'm like, "I don't know." It's just like. But she's like, I feel the same exact way. It's just because we have a close connection. And I was like, but why? Why are we feeling this way? What's going on? Something
there's
right.
something about certain souls. I know people like to say twin flames and give it titles like that. But sometimes you just have this connection to people, or it's just your natural intuition. And it's easier with that sibling or with that best friend because you've spent so much time together and you have that great emotional connection. I used to have that a lot with, I have a cousin, we grew up as sisters. And we live in other sides of the world. She's still up north in Indiana where I was raised, and I'm in Florida now. And if something's wrong, she'll call me. She'll say, is everything okay? And I'll just burst into tears. No, I've had a shitty day. And she knows. Or I'll have a dream about her, and I'll say, it's really weird. I had a dream that you went to blah place. She goes, oh, I'm actually going this week. And I'm like, ooh, don't go.
Yeah, my sister does that all the time. She's like, hey, don't go to Water Day. I'm like, why? She goes, something about your son and water. Don't go. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
And I think those are gifts, and the cleaner your body is, and the cleaner you are, and the more you work on your meditation and your spirituality, and the easier that comes, because it doesn't come easy for everybody. And then there's people that it comes easy to, or they don't want it.
I think this is a good timing for this.
Maria just commented. She said she puts bentonite clay, or apple cider vinegar.
Yes, absolutely. You can. I've done that before, where I've made like a paste and put it on my whole body and just kind of stand there and wait 20 minutes and then shower and pull it off. Huh. So I've done that for like my kids and their teenage friends. They were over years ago. I was like, "You guys want to do facial mask?" And I did that. And they were like, "Why does this hurt?" Yeah, but it really does pull out the impurities of the body.
Oh wow, that's
amazing.
That's good.
It's a good.
That's cool.
It's very old too. It's like really old.
Now, apple cider vinegar. You like Bragg's. The mother's drink. I'll usually do that. I know I try to limit it. I would just grab like the large soup spoon. I would pour it on there and I just take it. They always said mix it in with something else.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the stuff is harsh. It's not a sipping thing that you enjoy. So I go, why do you want to mix it in with a glass? Yeah, and slowly drink it. Why not just shoot the thing and then drink it down with a glass of water and then you're done?
Real quick too about that. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Like, yeah, it's good for you, and oh no, it's gonna put a hole in your esophagus. Don't do that. So I stopped taking it. I was like, all right, well, I don't want a hole in my esophagus.
Like we said, everything in moderation. If your gut is pH balanced and you're eating right, then you probably don't really need to worry about it unless you're taking it for like, if you're dieting or for a very specific reason. My daughter can take shots and it's like no big deal. No, I can't. It's funny because I'm the harshest when it comes to promoting health, but when it comes to like the olive oregano, the apple cider vinegar, and kale, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't even sound too good.
No, it's really not. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just kind of like once you shoot, it's like it's gone. But yeah, everybody's like, everybody talks like, oh, like just mix it in with some lemonade or something like that. It'll be no, it's like Yeah, you just here little side note. You know, my mom when I was growing up got on a health kick, and so we used to when we grew up, she would put brewer's yeast in her orange juice.
That doesn't sound good. I don't know what it is, but it sounds horrible.
It's not. The brewer's yeast is good for you,
Uh-huh.
but the thing is, she would mix it in with the orange juice, and that made the orange juice kind of a cloudy, kind of an orange brown look. And then you drink it. It was just gross. I mean, think about mixing a beer with orange juice.
That's what I say. It sounds like it's an ingredient for making beer, and it's just like this is one of the ingredients. Just use this, but you're missing everything else.
Like I said, she wasn't doing anything bad. It was just she was like trying. It was healthy, vitamin C and brewer's yeast, but as the combo, it's the same thing. I would have rather have the brewer's yeast and something else like baked into like a little muffin or something. It had to eat that and then been able to drink the orange juice, and that's why like the apple cider vinegar. It's just easier. Take it, then have your glass of have your lemon. Like I said, not lemonade with all the sugar but just like actually have like a lemon, lemon and water, then drink that, and then you're great.
Lemon water is really good for you. They say you should have that first thing in the morning. It helps alkalize the body. So you want to be the perfect pH balance. And if you have the perfect pH balance in the gut, no disease can really live in the body. Because disease can only live in the body if you've got this negative pH balance, So if you focus on that and not worry about God, there's so many things for me to learn. How am I going to learn about oil or chakras? If you just try to eat alkaline, balanced diet, you're going to really eliminate a lot of issues. I know we were talking about like what tastes good and what doesn't taste good, but cinnamon oil is really good for you too.
That sounds good.
It's not that good.
Well, you can take it in the oil, or you can mix it, put it in a spoon with coconut oil, or you can just put it in a vegetable capsule. Well, like Maria's saying, they do have vegan ones, but
what does that do? What we're up to, like vegan capsules. What is that? Like, is there something? It's weird
because that means that some of those vegetable capsules may have been made with some animal. So vegan just means it has nothing animal related. But it looks like
no gelatin.
Capsule. Yeah, because the gelatin is made out of pork.
Oh, okay.
But cinnamon is really good for people who have trouble with their sugar levels.
Yeah.
Really?
I got to take cinnamon and turmeric every morning.
Yeah, cinnamon. You can make a capsule or just buy the pills ready to go. That will lower your glucose like by 30%, up to 30%.
Wow.
Then the trick, unlike me, is don't eat something highly sweet after doing it. It kind of counteracts the process.
Yeah, not like right after.
Yeah, it's
okay. I'm eating a giant cake, but I have a Diet Coke. That's what you sound like right now.
So you mentioned earlier there's a list of the oils that and what they do and how to
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of websites. I have a list here at home. It just depends like what you're looking for. But I have, see the tiny print.
Yes.
Tons of things that you can do. You can make your own blends. I've used to make my own blends. I haven't this past year. I don't know why, and I can tell the difference. I used to make my own blends for like anti-aging. And it made a huge difference because I used to have like tons of little lines on the side of my eyes. They call them crow's feet. And they're gone. They're still gone. But definitely you can make all sorts of different recipes with your essential oils. And even with crystals, you can make crystal water with different crystals. You can put the crystal in the water or next to your water. And that's going to help with your health, help with your frequency, with balancing your chakras.
We talked about it for another episode. I forgot the name of the show with Zac Efron on Netflix. You ever watch that? When he went around to different parts of the world, and he had one episode. I think it was in Finland, just talking about water, different types of water. This water, that. I'm like, I did not know there was this different water, and that the water we're drinking isn't good for us.
No,
that's crazy that you say that. I had We're not gonna go into details of what kind of job I do, but I had a fighter ask me, "Hey, can I drop this crystal in my water?" I'm like, I think it's better that we don't. But now that you say you can make crystal water, he had a whole bunch of crystals around him, and I mean, I'm cool with the crystals, but you dropping it in your water. I'm like, let's just say we didn't.
There's very few that you cannot put in water. Like there's a particular rock that has like lithium, which is actually a drug that I'm familiar with because I used to do foster care and they would give that to kids that had like really bad emotional issues. So your lithium regulates your emotions. So
It's
you
Grandma's
don't,
special rock water.
yeah, you don't want to put that in your water. If you feel you
Yeah,
need,
put
I
the
would
lithium rocks in there. Here, Sonny,
I would
take
put it
this.
next to the glass.
You were a foster parent here or in
In
Indiana?
Florida. Yeah.
Okay, my wife works for DCF. She's got an MSW, so she used to
Okay,
go to place kids all
I
the
did
time.
that for maybe 8-10 years.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you said you were born in Indiana?
I was born and raised in Indiana. Went to high school in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and then moved here with my husband in 2003.
What part of
Wow.
Indiana?
Oh, do you want me to say that? Gary.
Really?
Gary,
No shit.
GI, Gary, Indiana.
My mom's not watching right now, but I know when she used to visit Indiana, she flew into Gary. I think she grew up in Highland.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of my mom's side of the family is born and raised in Indiana. That's why I was Gary. I know Gary.
Highland, Valparaiso, Maryville, Gary, Chicago. Yeah, that's all like right there.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely look into the oil things more. I'm actually looking at this website, and it's actually USDA approved organic oils. This this oil that I have.
Well, you want to also support local businesses too, like she said, Chamberlain's.
No, I feel you, but I paid $12 for this oil at the I paid 12. Hold on. And it's $6 online, free shipping. So I was raped.
Just make sure that you know the company and how they actually extract it, and that it's pure. That they're not extracting like this much and then adding some kind of base oil to thin it out. You don't want them cutting it into something thin. You want to get the purest form because a bottle can last you like forever.
This one is endorsed by a doctor, and it says 100% USDA, over 30 years. I mean,
I've seen a lot of late night infomercials that were endorsed by doctors. Take this, this copperware, pan. You use this thing, it'll make you feel all sorts of things. I use these copperware bands, and I now no longer have tennis elbow. Yeah. This is endorsed by doctor.
You make fun of that, but if we go back to everything has a frequency.
Yeah.
Everything has a frequency, even copper.
Yeah.
And your body is supposed to have a certain amount of copper. So you're not going to be able to take a supplement with copper. You're not going to eat copper. So, but if you wore a bracelet, it's next to you, you will be able to absorb some of that frequency.
See?
I'm not saying that bracelet is going to heal anything, but all these little things that, you start making it part of your lifestyle, eating a little bit better, taking care of your chakras, getting into crystals a little bit, if you do a little bit of all of this, you're going to improve your lifestyle, and it's going to start to become a new habit, and you'll start to research even more.
Do you offer those charts or anything like that on your site?
I don't have these charts on my site. I bought these from Amazon.
Okay.
So they're very, very easy to find. They have vitamin and mineral ones. They have herbal therapy. Then they have the reflexology for foot and hand. They have aromatherapy charts. Now, some people that study aromatherapy, if they learned like the British way, or I forget the other country, they're going to tell you never, ever consume any kind of oil. But the French way, and a lot of us here in the United States, we know that it's safe to consume it because I've been consuming them for years. I started out on this journey because I had lupus back in, like 2007. And it got so bad, then I started having all these other autoimmunes on top of that autoimmune, and then fibromyalgia and all sorts of stuff. And the doctor said that he couldn't find anything else that would help me. So he was going to give me an oral chemotherapy drug. And my mom had just passed away from cancer. So I was still really sensitive about that. And so I kind of had a yelling conversation with God and was like, if you want me to do this, I'm going to need some help. And so I ended up researching essential oils and different foods and archangels. And I was like grasping for straws. And I would say within that week of quote unquote learning and researching, he sent me for some blood work and said, well, when you come back, since your Lyrica is no longer working, we're going to start you on the oral chemo, which I knew that I had no intentions of taking. But,
Wow.
let me do the blood work. Let me see him next week. Cause he normally would see me every 3 months. And then we went to every month. And I couldn't bear the pain anymore. So like I said, that week of researching, I went and did my blood work. And when I went to see him, he kept looking at my paperwork and looking at my numbers, and he would look up at me. And he did this for like 2 minutes, which felt like 2 hours for me. And then he said, you do your recent blood work. So, the Spanish Puerto Rican in me came out, and I was like, isn't that what you're looking at? Like, isn't that for 2 minutes? What you're looking at? And he said, oh, well, your white cells and everything is back in normal range. And I said, well, that's great. That's great. And he says, well, that means you're in remission. And I said, no, if I say remission, then I'm giving it permission to come back. So I say I'm healed. Thank you very much. And so I left, and I've never been back because I was the only 30-something-year-old at the time sitting in a rheumatologist's office with 70-year-olds.
Wow. My God. Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, go back to, you said peppermint oil for the feet for the kids to sleep at night. That's cool. I'm gonna start do that tomorrow.
The pepper for sleeping, I would do lavender. Peppermint is really like, you can mix the lavender and the peppermint if they're having like stomach issues or IBS stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I would just start out with just some lavender, just for safety. Put some socks on them in case they get up in the middle of the night. You don't want them slipping, and lavender healed me from this, but I got this secondary effect of so.
Wow. No, that's some good, because it's like the frequencies. I mean, it's just do you recommend, a certain size or anything for the bowls for those? I mean, it's just like a small one for normal people, or it's obviously you don't need the giant.
Personally, I got the bigger one only because I knew I wanted to do it for my family and friends, and eventually, some classes or free classes or whatever. And it was the only one that was a universal C note. So I don't know if there's a universal C note that comes in the tiny bowl, but if you really want full effect and sound for the whole body and to cleanse like a whole house, then maybe bigger is better. Because those frequencies, I can also cleanse my house. I mean, I cleanse my house with frankincense. Frankincense it's antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, anti-everything. So I will burn frankincense in my house, and open the windows, especially if somebody's sick, and it gets all the germs out. Mm-hmm. But you see churches do that. You see the Catholic Church do that.
Careful, you're promoting fresh air. Stop it.
Yeah. You can promote positivity. Let's just say that.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's one of those because that was one we really wanted to talk on this, because it's just I want to start making a change. I mean, I really do. I mean, it's just, I know it's not, you can't just like the whole thing like cold turkey. I mean, very few people can be smoking like 3 or 4 packs a day, just set them down and never touch another one again.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very rare. I mean, it takes something usually traumatic.
Do you want me to tell you how I started?
Yeah, absolutely.
One, because of the lupus, I had to start researching and learning about oils. So, I signed up for Young Living under a friend, and I started, ordering my oils and stacking up and making my own new medicine cabinet in my house for myself and the kids. After that, it was, let me get to the gym. Even if I only go 2 or 3 days a week, it's better than 0. So that was another thing. And then food-wise, because that's one of the hardest addictions, was I told myself, I'm not going to buy anything that has high fructose syrup. That was just one thing. So I'd be in Publix for like 2 hours, hungry, wanting to cry because there was only like 4 things in my cart because everything had high fructose syrup. But you start to learn, and you start to say, well, I'm not going to budge on this one rule. I am never going to buy anything with high fructose syrup. And then you start to learn what products you can, and then you add another item to that list and another item to that list until you just become a little bit pickier and pickier. And then you know where you can shop and what items you are safer for you.
Yeah. And that's okay. So then that is just,
years, it wasn't easy.
Oh no, it's.
Yeah.
I remember just a couple things like when I was first had the type 2 diabetes thing. It's just where it was just it came down. It's just like, okay, you got to do this. Well, you're looking through there. It's like, okay, you get rid of this, you get rid of this, you get rid of this. Well, immediately I was, that lasted for a little while, and then it was just like came crashing back, and then
if you don't find a substitute for the things that you're getting rid of, you're going to crash.
Yeah. And
So that sugar or agave and other things that, I'm not a diabetic expert or anything like that, but you start researching those other things. But I tell you, white sugar is not good for anybody. That's one thing I don't budge on. If it has white sugar, I don't buy it.
I use cane sugar. I stay away from white sugar now.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I got the agave syrup.
Yeah.
And all that, just raw honey. I just started using raw honey, and the agave syrup is
for you guys, because we were talking about the kids earlier. But if you can get like a jar of raw honey, local honey, because that's going to be your local, germs or whatever, you can put some garlic cloves in that jar and just keep it for months. That's going to be your jar of medicine. So when your kid has a sore throat, you have a sore throat, you feel something coming down, you take a spoon of that. It's going to be a little strong because you got to put a lot of garlic in it, but now that's antibacterial. So
minced garlic or cloves, actual cloves of
garlic? I put cloves because if I give them a spoon and it's got minced garlic in there, the kids aren't going to want to eat it.
Yeah.
So maybe chop some cloves in half. That way, when you're getting a spoon of honey out later, you don't have to give them the actual chunks of garlic.
Great. That's very informational.
And just keep it on the counter. It's not going to go bad.
No, I mean, yeah, just for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, they found honey that was in, Egyptian, in Egyptian tombs, and it's still edible.
Right.
Only thing happens to honey is it turns to sugar after a while. You have to warm it up in order, like
if it's not sealed right. Yeah. Yeah. If it's not sealed right.
You know who's got the best honey that I've seen locally, and it's not that expensive. They sell it in half-a-gallon jugs. It's called Showcase of Citrus. It's out there off of 27. They sell gallon size, they sell half-a-gallons, and they get it from the local beehives right there on property.
Okay.
It sounds like I probably answered my own question here, but you said your local honey. Say I live in one place, but I spend most of my time in another place. I should probably, for me, get it where I work, right? And then the kids get it where they are.
Well,
and live.
Local, I just mean like this area. I wouldn't want you to buy, buying raw honey from Indiana is not going to help you in Florida. Okay. But if you're like, you live in Winter Garden, you work in Orlando, and your kids go to Kissimmee or to school, that's still kind of semi area.
Yeah.
They say it really helps with allergies because the bees use the local plants to make the honey, so it kind of help you immune to the allergies in the air.
It helps you acclimate to your area. Yeah. So that's really good for the kids, and they like it. I bought my kids like tons of elderberry, like right before quarantine, and it was like candy to them. They're like, "Can we have more?" And I'm like, "No. Do you know how expensive that is?"
So when I get sick, I'll usually mix honey and cinnamon together and drink it.
Yeah. That's good.
That's what we used to do too. My mother-in-law used to. Well, we still need to do it, but we did cod liver oil, and we mix it with lemonade. And we'd be like, "Hey, we just made a lemonade or some kind of juice. We call it super juice. I want super juice right before bed." Cod liver oil.
When I was a kid, it was like Bacardi mixed with something,
Oh. I thought
it smells like fish to me. I'm just like, it smells good.
No, that doesn't sound interesting at all. Well, no,
there was a story of this girl. There was an essential oil DVD that I had, and this young lady. Well, the woman was told that her daughter had a tumor in her brain and that she wouldn't live past a certain age. So I'm not sure of the different other remedies they did, but they were very religious about constantly giving her frankincense oil. And she's like an adult married with kids now. So frankincense is supposed to be like one of the best oils out there. And myrrh actually amplifies what frankincense and anything else does. It's almost like a battery or a preserver of oils. So when you add myrrh to anything, it just increases it. So if you think, people that are biblical, if you think what they gave to Jesus, it was frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And we're not sure if the gold was actually gold or if the gold was actually turmeric.
Which, in a way, I mean, actually, now you said that, I mean, wouldn't that kind of make sense? We got, you have, two things, one that's just, obviously it's physical, monetary, wealth, but these other two have these healing properties, have this thing. So in a way, I mean, that would kind of make sense, because it's a golden,
right?
Look,
right.
So yeah, but it's.
And if you're making certain anointed oils for spiritual or religious reasons, you're going to include frankincense or myrrh or both. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so every oil that we're talking a lot about the physical benefit for it, but a lot of them have a mental, emotional aspect to it. And definitely they all have their own frequency. Like I said, everything has a frequency. But there's metaphysical in everything, and people don't feel comfortable talking about that because they're going to say, oh, it's woo woo, or it's not proven, or, my family doesn't believe that, or, I'm Christian, so I won't even look at the possibility of that. So you really have to be open-minded and realize that it's all energy. And if God made energy, then it's not a sin to learn about how these different oils can help you. And oils just come from the plants. It's not some voodoo crazy stuff out there. It's just, if I say chamomile helps me sleep, it's I'm just making a tea out of the plant, or I'm making the oil.
Without getting too disparaging on type thing, but isn't it kind of funny how back hundreds of years ago, anybody that dealt with anything herbal was witchcraft, that's of the devil. This is you were doing you are heretic, you're all this stuff surrounding. And how long do we have to keep doing them? Because even modern times, people are still like, no. I know some people that are really religious that still think yoga is a sin.
Oh yeah, they say it's demonic because you're going into these positions, and I'm like, I'm stretching my body to get the energy through, and it's the energy that God needs. How is it demonic?
I mean, I won't lie. One of the positions my wife was showing me to help stretch my groin muscle that was pulled, I go, honey, I'm just going to say I've never physically been in this position entirely in my life. This feels really awkward right now. I feel like somebody's going to come behind me and take advantage of me.
But you felt good afterwards.
Yeah, it felt great. But I mean, it's like legs are spread, your hands are down like this, your butt's up in the air. And I'm like, this feels really weird.
And that's another thing about growth and going into 2020 and all the things that we want to do and learn is the hardest thing that you're going to have to do is to unlearn everything that you've learned and then learn all the new stuff, because society has told us when we were growing up, whether it was religion or family or culture or whatever, that this was what was right and anything else was wrong. So if someone had a different religion or different spiritual practices, you're like, well, that's wrong. That's evil. That's not right. But you can always find some sort of reference in another religion or in another culture that's been doing it for hundreds of years and it's worked for them. But all of a sudden now, if we do it, it's wrong.
I have
they use frankincense, to bless the body. I used to volunteer for weddings and funerals, and I would have to prep the censer and put frankincense in there, and he would, bless the body or the whole coffin. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good for germs too. If
tell me there was no bread eaters, please. I'm still traumatized by that. Finding out about the whole bread eater thing.
I tend to not listen to what people say most of the time, because I mean my chains are the devil to people, because I wear leques and I talk to higher energy, and people's like, oh, you're the devil, you do crystals, and okay, well, have that, you can. Yeah.
Well, here's the newest thing for me. I haven't said it publicly, so I hope somebody that knows me sees this, but I'm part of an association. I won't mention at the moment. And I just recently found out that they were spreading rumors and saying that I was a witch and that I did all sorts of witchcraft, because they found out that I like crystals and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, now I'm a crystal witch. I do, bad things to people. And I'm like, I don't do bad things to people because I have kids and I don't want that kind of karma,
All right, guys, we're racking up the witch friends here. We got Varla, and now we got Victoria. Their names start with V. What is going on?
Do you use sage?
Goddesses. I'm sorry.
Do you use sage?
Yes, I use sage. I use frankincense, sage. A friend told me recently to lay off the sage out of respect for we don't know how it's harvested in the Native Americans, blah, blah, blah. But I just ordered like a ton, so that's going to have to wait a little bit. I'll pray over the sage first. But I usually use like a mix of frankincense and a church incense, and then I have my sage. I have my singing bowl. So I have different ways to constantly clean my house. I normally would have only done it once or twice a year. But with 2020, not because of COVID, but because of people, I feel like I've been needing to cleanse myself more in my house. If I'm picking up negative energy outside, I don't want to bring that inside, which you tend to do. And that's why a lot of cultures would make you take your shoes off before you go into the house.
I take my shoes off and I walk in the house backwards.
I like that.
Yeah,
I really
you know.
yeah, I know. I really want to have this big bowl of water with certain things in it and make people like clean themselves.
Yeah,
but get rid of mosquitoes.
So I
You
mean,
go into Victoria's house, you got this whole ritual. You got to turn around, go backwards. You got to like this. She's over there, blessing you with it. Like you were clean.
around certain people, you've like I'm comfortable around Craig. We talk several hours a day, but certain things they wouldn't understand, like you understand, like like baths, Florida water, different type of cleansing stuff.
Yes.
I'm on that path of different things. So I'd be like, Craig would be like, huh? He's seen my chains, and he's like, did your son make those for you?
Oh,
I said
you don't know what I had to do to get these. I noticed them on one of the shows. You made a comment, and I was like, I see those eleques, I see your collares. So yeah. I was like, I see the green and yellow.
okay. Okay, I see you. Just okay.
Yeah.
I'm lost, man. I feel like I'm not part of the inner circle.
That's another thing. When I would tell clients or friends, hey, if you don't like to drink the chamomile, you can make a bath, and they're like, what? And I'm like, well, just think of it as and I don't want to say spiritual bath, because some clients come strictly for the science. They don't want to talk to me about anything mental, emotional, or spiritual. So I have to keep it into the questions that they asked me, because I don't want them to feel less validated if they start to look at me as this crystal woo-woo person. So it depends on who the client is. Well, now my website's there, so I'm screwed. But but I do. I have a system called the Life System. I also have another system called Zyto. I have a third system. But what these do is, if you're in person, they are going to measure you energetically. So I'm going to put a harness on your wrist, your ankles, and your forehead. And I can also do it distance, but I'll explain that another time. And what I do is I measure all of your energy. So you're not just your body, you're at least 8 to 10 feet wide. So I'm measuring the energy that comes in, I'm measuring the energy that's in you, and the energy that goes out. Now, this system in Europe is a medical device, but in the United States is only approved as a stress management system. So people that come to me are not patients, they're clients. I have to make sure that they sign a waiver knowing that I'm not a doctor and I don't give them medical advice. But the system is always so accurate that sometimes it scares people and they never come back. Or people will come to me 4 or 5 times in a year for a checkup. And I like to tell people to use it as kind of like a report card. You make changes, you come back, you see if those changes are, implementing well into your system, and then you keep coming back, every few months. Go ahead.
So is that the thing you wanted to do before the show? Because I'd be interested in doing it, so we could talk about it maybe next time if you have time to come back on.
Absolutely. It measures the stressors of your body, and your stressors are going to come up on a list and give me some numbers. We're going to get it chronic and acute, and it can range anywhere from, it might say on there oregano, and you're going to say, it can't be oregano. Your machine's messed up. I haven't had oregano in forever. Ding, ding, ding. You need some oregano. You haven't had any in forever.
Interesting.
It's going to give me herbal remedies. It's going to give me organs. It's going to tell me about dental, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's all going to come up on the list. So depending on the client, I've had clients tell me, don't tell me anything emotional. I don't want to know. So for me, that's like saying, I'm going to take a bath, but only on the front, not in the back. because you're only taking care of half the problem now.
And
Because
how long
you wanna know-
Wow.
and how long does this take?
First time clients, I tell them to give it 2 hours. It's not that the test takes 2 hours, but because they're new, I have to explain how everything works. Usually halfway through they forget and I have to explain it again, or I have to give them a lot of different analogies. But once you're familiar with my analogies and how the system works, you should be able to do this in an hour, hour and 15.
Wow.
So it just depends, because people want to come and they want to have their physical part, but they want to really go deep into the emotional part. But then they want to talk to me for an hour about the emotional part. So I kind of have to put like a limit on that. You're only going to accept so many frequencies in one session. So for me to give you the counter frequency back to balance you is like me trying to pour a gallon of water in this glass. It's only going to take so much. So I would be wasting your time. So what I do on the machine is I literally put a glass of water. So as I'm sending you the frequencies to balance you, it's also going into the water. So later that night, you drink half of that water, and then the following night, you drink the other half. And that's our way of stretching that session out to help your body acclimate to those frequencies. So
Cool.
The things that I'm quote unquote fixing, because this is the words that my clients like to use. So you fixed me, right? You fixed me. And I'm like, you can't do something for 40, 50 years and think I'm going to push a button and fix you in two minutes. This is a tool just like everything else. So I'm going to adjust you and put you back in balance, but it's up to you how long you stay in balance. Are you going to stay in balance an hour, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, a year? If you don't address the issue and the root, it's eventually going to come back. It's like putting braces on a kid and you take the braces off in a month. His teeth are going to go right back where they were.
So
Like analogies, I was going to say, it's like a piano. You're tuning.
Yes,
You have to go.
I normally tell people, think of yourself as a radio
key.
tower, and your body is the radio tower, but I'm tuning into every station, rock, reggae, jazz, and each one of those are like your organs, your body systems, your, all these different things that create you, the whole tower.
So do you have
Wow.
Go ahead, Chris.
Do you have a shop? Because I need to message you about this information because I would love to come to a session and whatever you charge. We
We can do a chakra healing. We can do the biofeedback. Whatever you like. Just send me an inbox. I don't have a physical location. I do it out of my home or I go to the client's house. I have some clients in Orlando that they don't want to go anywhere because they realize how sensitive it is. They feel safer in their house talking about certain things. So, and I also make my clients keep a journal. Think of it as when you go to a reading, you keep that journal, you read your notes, you make changes, and you keep going back and reading that journal. And I make you do the research, because if I just give you a printout, you're going to go home and stuff that printout somewhere. And you're not going to really do anything with it. If I make you write it down and do the work, it's going to stick better.
Okay, well, I'll message you after the show, and whenever you're free, you let me know, and I come out there and mess with Craig a little bit, and do a session whenever, whenever you can fit me in.
Yeah.
You can come back over to my house, and we can handle you as the tears are coming down. She was so right.
Or you're gonna be in the downward dog and be like, Craig's busy.
Yeah, he's gonna come walk in. I'm gonna be doing yoga, and he's gonna be like, nope.
It's funny because people come to me for the biofeedback, but once they get to know me, they're like, "Can you come to my house and do a spiritual cleaning?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So I've done kind of like a lot of different things.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Well, Victoria, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate. I know we've been talking for this for a while. It's just, and I'm so remiss. Next door neighbors. We had the party. You were sitting right there, and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, we could have been talking.
She was reading your energy.
Yeah, over at right next door to us. It was Willie and Norma's.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yep. And your husband, like you said, we were right there. So I'm just like, we should have done it. Yeah. So I apologize for being so.
You never know how much to share with people. When you first meet, you're not going to say, "Hey, I can make you a spiritual bath," or let me tell you about your traumas when you were 4. Like, nobody wants to hear that.
And he likes UFOs. Okay, guys, we're going to stay away from that corner of the room.
No, I had a client once on one of her stressors, you've got all the physical stuff came up. It said brother, like literally a brother. And she said, "Well, your system must not be working because I don't have a brother. I don't have a stressor from a brother. I don't have a brother. And I said, okay, well, maybe it's a friend that you grew up like brothers or a close cousin, something of that nature. And she was adamant and she loved her sessions. She said everything was correct except that one thing. She texted me 2 days later with a lot of LOL saying, oh my God, I'm sorry. I forgot. I do have a brother. She said, I have a half brother from my father's side. And, you know, we had a riff or whatever, and we're not on speaking terms. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. And I said, well, that's the stressor.
Wow.
So a lot of times people will deny it, but sometimes they just forget what it is. You know, the system has a different, there's so many different tests that it can do. And I had a client once do one about your ages. It will put the ages of your life in order of stressor. So it'll tell me which year was your most stressful year. And what you have to do is you have to think, okay, if it says like 1988, where did I live? Where was I working? You know, who lived in my home? What traumatic event happened to me at that time? Because whatever happened, you stored that energy somewhere in your body and it's still causing a stressor. It's not in your conscious mind if you can't remember it, but it's still there and you have to work through it to get through it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when Chris does it, you know, how this comes out, because as you're describing this machine, it sounds amazing that it's coming up with all this information. That is really cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So go to quantumrejuvenation.org. Phone number's up there. I believe you can. There's even there's a contact. I mean, obviously we showed it in your
my cell phone. I mean, people can text or call. Texting is. I mean, I can track a lot easier.
See this little button right here? It says it's hard to miss. I mean, it's really small. It says contact us.
Yeah, that was going to email me, but if you just use the phone number on the top right corner, that's my cell phone, so it'll text me right away. Where it says more, that drop down arrow will take you to like my Young Living website, Life Vantage, which some other things that I do.
Facebook page.
Yeah. Oh, that one might be the deleted one. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So if you get an error message on that one, you know we can.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the Natural Rejuvenation page right here. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Like I said,
really nice.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, well, we can get Stephanie back on. Like I said, we'll bring you both back on again and try to get that. So, I mean, if you're up for that, I mean, because we'd love to have a follow up, especially
if we can get to, like, do everybody's biofeedback before a show and you guys not talk about it and then discuss it on the show.
I'll be messaging you soon about that, like before, like beginning of next year for sure.
Okay.
Because you know it's a really long journey for me, so I'm gonna I'm gonna be the one that has the hardest time finding my way over to you, seeing it's just the other side of the street.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
No, I don't. No, it's one of those. If I'm going to be the one where, how come you literally your neighbors? I'm like, why are you not over there? You know, it's hard to walk.
All right, guys, have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Everybody, this episode brought to you by Brat's Beard Care, made with essential oils, all natural products by Kelly Brat, right here in Winter Garden. Highly recommend our signature blend 3B. Use promo code 3beards with a capital B, and I said it's amazing products. You're going to love it. And so everybody check him out. Nanny Cakes. Go to Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook. 407-923-2898. Let her know, give her a call, let her know that you saw that on there. She's going to save 15% off your cake order, which is fantastic. Patreon.com/3beards podcast. Become a beardo. Let us know. We probably should just, do like a email list for, like a witch collection, for us now. So we got, we got one in one accusation. So we got quite the collection. Yeah, we're working it. All the social medias, like, share, just subscribe everywhere, please. Share us with everybody. Get this information out. Stephanie, appreciate you coming on. We will get you on again. I said, hopefully this time the Matrix won't try to take you out when you're trying to give information on how to help yourself with yoga. So everybody have a great night. Happy, like I said, we'll be back next Wednesday. So right before Christmas. So we'll wish everybody holidays in. But everybody, good night.